The monster movies and science fiction epics of the 1950s shaped an entire generation of imagination. These films were bold, dramatic, and filled with visionary effects that pushed cinema into the future. Today, we explore 15 unforgettable classics that still thrill modern audiences. From atomic age fears to cosmic mysteries, these stories helped define the golden era of genre filmmaking. Let us begin. Number 15, Godzilla. 1954. Godzilla is more than a giant monster rampaging across city streets. It is the roar of a wounded nation still recovering from the shock of nuclear devastation. The film begins with a quiet dread as fishing boats vanish and survivors speak of a towering shape rising from the waves. The creature is not simply a beast, but the embodiment of trauma fear and scientific arrogance. Ishiro Honda directs the story with a documentary-like realism, blending miniature effects with human tragedy to create a haunting portrait of destruction. Suit actor Haruo Nakajima suffers inside a heavy rubber costume, often overheating, yet he brings emotion to a character with no words and no mercy. Every stomp and every breath carries a message about the dangers of unrestrained power. The film also introduces one of the greatest film scores ever created by Akira Ifukube, whose pounding rhythms echo the advance of an unstoppable force. Godzilla becomes more than entertainment. It becomes a national symbol. It becomes a warning wrapped inside spectacle. The finale is tragic and unforgettable as humans unleash a terrible weapon to stop a creature born from another terrible weapon. To this day, Godzilla remains a landmark of global cinema. Its legacy stretches across decades, showing how fantasy can reveal truths that reality fears to face. Number 14. The Thing from Another World, 1951. This chilling classic unfolds in an isolated Arctic research station where scientists encounter a crashed alien spacecraft frozen beneath the ice. The tension rises as they unknowingly unleash a hostile creature. Unlike later adaptations, this version presents the alien as a plant-based humanoid that feeds on human blood and grows stronger with every attack. What makes the film legendary is the relentless suspense created by the setting. Miles of snow and total isolation turn the base into a frozen prison. The cast delivers sharp, energetic performances, and the rapid-fire dialogue enhances the urgency of every moment. Even without modern special effects, the creature feels dangerous because it blends mystery with unstoppable determination. The production design perfectly captures the harshness of the environment. Howling winds shake the walls, and shadows flicker across the narrow hallways. This world feels cold, unforgiving, and alive with dread. One of the most iconic scenes shows the team forming a human circle around the saucer buried beneath the snow as they realize its immense size. At its core, the film warns that humanity is often unprepared for what lies beyond our world, yet it also celebrates courage and cooperation. Despite the fear, the characters stand together to defend their survival. The ending is a timeless call to vigilance, echoing through the history of science fiction cinema. Number 13. The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951. This groundbreaking story introduces Klaatu, a mysterious visitor from another world who arrives not as a conqueror, but as a messenger. His spaceship lands in Washington, and the world reacts with fear, tension, and military might. The robot Gort stands silent at his side, a towering symbol of power that keeps humanity at a respectful distance. The film uses its science fiction setting to question violence and tolerance and the dangerous path toward global conflict. Klaatu explains that his people live among the stars in peace, yet they monitor Earth because the development of nuclear weapons threatens more than one planet. His plea for cooperation is met with suspicion, showing how fear often destroys chances for unity. Bernard Herrmann's legendary score features the eerie sound of the theremin, which captures the otherworldly presence of Klaatu and Gort. The cinematography paints a portrait of Cold War anxiety using shadows and solemn expressions to highlight the fragile state of humanity. The message remains powerful decades later. The story argues that progress requires responsibility and that survival depends on choosing understanding over aggression. The moment when Klaatu commands Gort to stand down becomes one of the most iconic scenes in film history. It is a reminder that peace is never guaranteed, but must be chosen. Number 12. Them, 1954. Them stands as one of the earliest and most influential atomic age creature features. The story begins in the desert, where strange sightings lead investigators to a nest of ants, transformed into towering predators. Radiation from nuclear testing warps nature into a terrifying new shape, and humanity quickly realizes how small it is in the face of scientific recklessness. The film builds tension through mystery before revealing the monstrous ants in a dramatic first appearance. Their movement, their screeches, and their sheer size create a fear unlike anything seen before on screen. Ray Harryhausen does not work on this production, yet the special effects team delivers unforgettable images that inspired decades of giant creature films. The narrative feels urgent and grounded as soldiers and scientists unite to track the growing threat. The chase through storm drains in Los Angeles remains one of the most thrilling sequences of the era, blending darkness, chaos, and heroic action. Them endures because it taps into primal anxieties about human experimentation and the unintended consequences of progress. The ants are not evil, they are simply surviving. Yet their existence reveals how fragile our world becomes when humanity disrupts the balance of nature. Seauch. Number 11. Creature from the Black Lagoon, 1954. Deep within the Amazon, a prehistoric creature awakens from centuries of silence. The gill man rises from the depths with a haunting grace and a tragic loneliness that sets him apart from other classic monsters. His design becomes an instant icon, and his underwater movements still astonish audiences today. The film follows a team of explorers who enter the Forbidden Lagoon, searching for fossils, yet they discover something alive and intelligent. The gill man watches from beneath the water, studying them with a mixture of curiosity and instinct. The beauty of the lagoon becomes a trap as tensions grow and violence escalates between humanity and nature. Riku Browning performs the underwater scenes, bringing elegance to the creature, while Ben Chapman plays the land sequences with raw physical power. Together, they create a monster that feels both dangerous and sympathetic. The story suggests that humans are the true intruders trespassing into a world that does not belong to them. Creature from the Black Lagoon remains a masterpiece of atmosphere, movement, and emotion. It blends adventure, horror, and romance into one unforgettable journey. The final moments in which the gill man struggles for survival echo long after the screen fades to black. Number 10. The War of the Worlds, 1953. This adaptation of the legendary H.G. Wells novel transforms alien invasion into a spectacle of fear and awe. The story begins when a glowing cylinder falls from the sky and lands near a small California town. Locals gather in curiosity, unaware that something hostile waits within. When the Martians rise, they unleash heat rays and shimmering force fields that no human weapon can penetrate. The film captures the tension of a world suddenly powerless against superior technology. Military forces launch desperate attacks, yet every effort crumbles before the precision and brutality of the invading machines. The tripods are redesigned as flying warships in this version, yet they remain equally menacing, their mechanical whirring signals doom for anyone nearby. The destruction scenes push 1950s effects to their limits. Entire cities collapse under alien fire. Streets burst into flames. Families flee as the world loses any sense of safety. Despite its fantastic premise, the film reflects real fears of global conflict and overwhelming devastation. At the center of the story stands the enduring idea that humanity must confront its own fragility. The Martians do not negotiate. They do not communicate. They simply conquer. Yet the ending reminds viewers of an unexpected truth. Even the greatest power can fall to forces beyond control. That single revelation makes the final moments both shocking and strangely hopeful. The War of the Worlds remains a cornerstone of science fiction cinema. Its influence reaches across decades, shaping how filmmakers portray alien invasions and apocalyptics. Danger. Number 9. The Fly, 1958. The Fly presents a chilling tragedy of science gone too far. The story follows a brilliant researcher who builds a teleportation machine designed to revolutionize transportation. Yet in one fateful experiment, a small, unnoticed housefly enters the device. When the scientist reappears on the other side, he is no longer fully human. Something monstrous now hides beneath his disturbed mind and shifting body. The film builds horror through transformation rather than spectacle. At first, the changes seem subtle. His behavior becomes strange. His movements grow unnatural. A cloth remains wrapped around his head, hiding what he fears to reveal. His wife slowly uncovers the truth, and her heartbreak becomes the emotional core of the film. She watches helplessly as the man she loves fades away, replaced by a creature that cannot survive in either world. The reveal of the fly head is one of cinema history's most iconic moments. It is shocking, grotesque, and unforgettable, yet the film treats the tragedy with solemn dignity. The scientist did not seek power. He sought understanding. His downfall is the direct result of ambition without caution. The famous final scene showing the tiny fly crying for help in a spiderweb remains deeply disturbing because it captures the horror of helplessness. The fly stands as a warning about the risks of unchecked experimentation and the blurred boundary between human and monster. Number 8. Forbidden Planet, 1956. Forbidden Planet is a milestone in cinematic science fiction. It transports viewers to the distant world of Altair 4, where a rescue crew investigates a silent colony. What they find is a brilliant scientist, his mysterious daughter, and a planet filled with wonders left behind by an ancient alien civilization known as the Krell. The film dazzles with futuristic design. Sleek starships, glowing laboratories, and vast energy chambers bring imagination to life in ways no earlier film attempted. Robbie the robot becomes an instant cultural icon with his mechanical voice and helpful nature. Yet beneath the spectacle lies a profound psychological story about the dangers of unchecked intellect. The scientist reveals that the Krell built machines capable of turning thoughts into reality. However, this power unleashed monstrous forces born from the darkest corners of the mind. This unseen creature now threatens the crew and the future of the planet. The silent stalker represents something terrifying. The enemy is not alien. The enemy is the hidden violence within human nature. Forbidden Planet merges philosophy, adventure, and groundbreaking effects into one unforgettable experience. Its influence echoes through countless later works, including entire eras of space exploration storytelling. It stands not only as a sci-fi masterpiece, but as a reflection on the shadows we carry inside ourselves. Number 7, 20 Million Miles to Earth, 1950. 7. This stop-motion marvel introduces one of the most sympathetic creatures of the decade. When a spacecraft returns from Venus, it carries a small gelatinous organism inside a metal container. This creature, called the Ymir, begins to grow rapidly once exposed to Earth's environment. What starts as a scientific curiosity becomes a towering, misunderstood giant, hunted by fear and misunderstanding. Ray Harryhausen brings the Ymir to life with astonishing detail. Every movement expresses pain, confusion, and instinct. The creature does not seek destruction. It simply tries to survive in a world it does not understand. Yet its size and appearance provoke panic, and the military responds with escalating force. The film invites viewers to question who the real monster is. The Ymir shows moments of gentleness, especially toward a trapped animal it attempts to rescue. Still, humanity sees only a threat. As cannons fire and crowds flee, the creature becomes more desperate and frightened. The final confrontation at the Roman Colosseum stands as one of the greatest sequences in creature cinema. The Ymir climbs the ancient walls, wounded yet defiant as soldiers surround him. His fall is not triumphant. It is tragic. 20 Million Miles to Earth remains a testament to Harryhausen's artistry and to the emotional depth possible within monster storytelling. Number 6. The Blob, 1958. The Blob takes a simple concept and transforms it into a pulse-pounding nightmare. A meteor crashes near a small town, releasing a growing red organism that devours everything it touches. At first, it appears small, harmless, and almost amusing. Soon it becomes clear that this creature cannot be stopped by any known force. It grows with every victim and spreads across the town with terrifying speed. Steve McQueen stars in one of his earliest leading roles, portraying a teenager who discovers the threat before anyone believes him. Adults dismiss the warnings. Authorities underestimate the danger. The tension builds as the blob glides through streets, theaters, and homes, leaving only silence in its wake. The creature itself is unsettling because it has no face, no motive, and no weakness. It is pure consumption, an unstoppable force that reflects fears of the unknown, spreading uncontrollably. The iconic movie theater attack remains one of the most memorable scenes in 50s cinema. Panic erupts as the blob oozes through the walls, consuming seats and people alike. Only extreme cold finally halts the creature, leading to a desperate race to freeze it before the entire town disappears. The ending closes with an eerie suggestion. The blob survives in suspended form, waiting for the day it may return. The Blob endures as a cult classic, capturing the thrill and terror of small-town horror. Number 5. It Came from Beneath the Sea, 1955. This thrilling adventure brings terror from the ocean depths as a giant octopus mutated by radiation rises from the Pacific and begins attacking ships and coastal cities. The creature moves with eerie precision, its massive tentacles stretching across harbors and shorelines as humanity scrambles for safety. This was one of Ray Harryhausen's earliest major showcases, and his stop-motion artistry gives the monster both weight and personality. The film follows a group of naval officers and scientists who piece together evidence of a growing threat. Strange wreckage appears. Survivors speak of enormous shadows rising from the sea. When the creature finally emerges, the scale of the danger becomes undeniable. Buildings collapse, streets flood, alarms echo across the bay. Despite the spectacle, the film develops a sense of realism by grounding the story in military procedure and scientific investigation. The characters confront the unknown with both fear and determination, reflecting Cold War anxieties about threats that might emerge without warning. The scenes in San Francisco remain some of the most iconic of the 1950s. The creature wraps itself around the Golden Gate Bridge, pulling at its steel frame in a sequence that blends destruction with a sad, strange beauty. It Came from Beneath the Sea endures because it combines monster mayhem with human resilience. The octopus is terrifying, yet it is also a victim of human experimentation and the rise of nuclear power. Its story is a reminder that nature often suffers the consequences of our ambitions. Number 4. The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, 1953. This film stands as one of the most influential creature stories ever made because it helped ignite the atomic age monster boom. Inspired loosely by a Ray Bradbury short story, it centers on a prehistoric reptile awakened by nuclear testing in the Arctic. As the creature moves south along the Atlantic coast, it leaves a trail of devastation, revealing a world unprepared for the return of ancient power. Ray Harryhausen's animation brings the Rhedosaurus to life with stunning detail. The monster stomps across cities and military strongholds with a presence that feels both majestic and tragic. Each sequence shows the tension between human invention and primordial force. Scientists and soldiers race to understand the creature while panic spreads across coastal towns. One of the most unforgettable scenes unfolds at Coney Island, where the beast crashes through roller coasters and amusement rides in a chaotic display of fear and destruction. The film carries deeper meaning beneath the spectacle. It warns that nuclear technology can unleash consequences far beyond human control. The creature is not evil. It is simply awake and wounded, driven by instinct and confusion. This nuance adds emotional resonance to its final moments when humanity must decide how to stop a threat it inadvertently created. The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms set the foundation for future classics, including Godzilla, and helped shape the legacy of giant monster cinema. Number 3. Rodan, 1956. Rodan introduces audiences to a new form of airborne terror as a colossal pterosaur bursts from a collapsed mine and takes to the skies at supersonic speed. The creature shatters sound barriers, sending shockwaves across landscapes and cities. Buildings crumble, winds roar. Panic spreads as humans confront a monster that cannot be outrun or easily tracked. What makes Rodan remarkable is its blend of natural disaster imagery with kaiju myth-making. Unlike creatures born from malicious intent, Rodan behaves like a wild animal startled by a changed world. Its immense power is instinctive, not aggressive, yet the destruction it unleashes is catastrophic. The film also explores the emotional cost of discovery. Miners vanish in the tunnels. Families mourn their losses. Officials struggle to comprehend the rising threat. When Rodan appears, the camera captures its enormity in sweeping shots that emphasize both awe and terror. In a powerful twist, the story reveals that there are two Rodans, a mated pair. Their bond transforms the narrative from simple monster thriller into tragedy. During the final volcanic eruption, the creatures cry out in pain and fear, creating one of the most heartbreaking moments in 50s cinema. Rodan endures because it combines spectacle with sorrow, showing that even the mightiest monsters can suffer. Number 2. The Incredible Shrinking Man, 1957. This visionary science fiction tale explores identity survival and the fragility of human existence. After passing through a mysterious radioactive cloud, a man begins shrinking at an unstoppable rate. What starts as a medical curiosity quickly becomes a journey into the unknown as he dwindles in size, facing new dangers at every stage. Furniture becomes mountains. A house cat becomes a lethal predator. A drop of water becomes a crushing wave. The film builds tension through perspective, transforming everyday objects into obstacles of life or death. Yet beneath the adventure lies a rich emotional core. The shrinking man confronts fear loss and the collapse of his former life. The most gripping sequence occurs in the basement, where he battles a giant spider using only a needle and his will to survive. This moment captures the film's blend of terror, beauty, and philosophical depth. As he continues to shrink, he reaches a profound revelation. Even as his physical form diminishes, his sense of purpose expands. He recognizes that existence continues at every scale, and that life remains meaningful no matter how small. The Incredible Shrinking Man stands as one of the most poetic achievements of 1950s cinema. Number 1. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956. This masterpiece of psychological horror presents one of the most chilling concepts in science fiction history. In a quiet California town, people begin noticing eerie changes in their neighbors. Loved ones seem emotionally distant. Friends behave like perfect empty replicas of themselves. Soon, the truth emerges. Alien pods are replacing humans with emotionless duplicates. The story unfolds with relentless tension. Shadows deepen. Paranoia spreads. No one can be trusted because anyone can become a pod person while they sleep. The terror does not come from violence, but from the slow erasure of individuality. The film reflects anxieties of the Cold War era, when society feared conformity, loss of identity, and unseen infiltration. Yet, the metaphor remains timeless. It speaks to any period when people fear losing their humanity to pressure or control. The most iconic moment shows the protagonist running into traffic, screaming that they are here. It is a desperate warning to a world that refuses to listen. Invasion of the Body Snatchers endures because it blends social commentary with gripping suspense, creating an unforgettable vision of a society collapsing from within. These 15 films shape the future of science fiction and monster cinema. Their imaginations still echo through modern storytelling. They remind us that fear, wonder, and discovery walk side by side. Whether born from radiation deep space or human ambition, these timeless creations continue to inspire new generations. The legend lives on.